6:04 p.m. on Tuesday, March 26th, and I call this meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Southampton to order. At this point, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you all very much. We will begin by having some mayoral appointments. Anthony, do you want to take that, or do you want me to take it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we'll start with the first one. Mayor Manger, with the approval of the Board of Trustees, hereby appoints employee Kelly Crackey to the position of Deputy Village Treasurer effective March 26, 2024.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second
you.
one. Mayor Manger, with the approval of the Board of Trustees, hereby appoints Cameron Pace to the position of Deputy Village Clerk at an annual salary of $60,000 effective April 5th, 2024.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Last one. Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the hiring upon the recommendation of Chief Hertow, Daniel Sanchez as a seasonal police officer at a rate of $27 an hour effective April 5th, 2024. Officer Sanchez will be working 20 hours per week until May 15th, 2024, at which time he will be permitted to work 40 hours per week for the season.
I will make the motion.
Second.
A discussion. So I got to go to the Suffolk County Police Academy and actually give Mr. Sanchez his diploma. I attended there with the chief and Lieutenant Ashley Jones, and it was obviously great. I got to meet his whole family, including his brother, who is a New York City police officer, and we're delighted to have Officer Sanchez join the police force of the Village of Southampton. So I made the motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
That's all we have, sir.
Okay. Now we will go to presentations. Are we ready, Julie, or not quite yet? Okay. Excellent. So we are going to have our newly minted village treasurer, Julie Crudup, begin the discussion of the tentative budget.
No, the treasury report.
The
Treasury report. Sorry, the Treasury report. We're not doing the budget yet. The Treasury report first, Julie. Sorry.
No worries.
Go ahead.
So we're just going to review the financial results for the fiscal year ending of May 31st, 2024. But this is all as of March 25th, 2024.
So we have 2 more months.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So for revenues, our adopted budget is $33,748,522. So far received as of March 25th, so yesterday, $36,056,472. Some key revenue drivers are building permits. We have budgeted $1.5 million, and so far collected to date $2.8 million. Interest for New York class, and as well as other bank accounts that we have, we've collected to date $1.1 million, and we've only budgeted $250,000. So we are doing very well on interest.
So there's a benefit to the village having high interest rates at the moment.
Yes, yeah, I think
Well, at the moment, but that was
yeah,
also
that-
the monies were transferred into these
into
prior.
the municipal pool for New York class,
Right.
and also February's interest rates from New York class were 5.2% we were receiving. So for expenditures, adopted budget is $33,748,522. So far expended is $28,389,984. So that's 84% expended so far. This does exclude the $4 million that the board transferred from capital earlier this year. I think it was in July we transferred that.
Yep.
And then key revenue drivers for expenditures. Proba finally settled on a union contract, and it was a 5-year retro that we had to expend so far. And I think tonight you guys will be going about, thank you, a resolution for appropriating reserves for the retro expense. I think it comes out to be $287,000
Right.
that you guys are going to vote on. as well as village interest has also increased more than anticipated. So far, we're over $70,000, which is due to the reevaluation of insurance items. I guess some things weren't insured, and there was a revamp on that, so it ended up pushing us over than what we expected. So at the next board meeting, I will have a budget amendment proposed for April 11th meeting. And then additionally, some other items, the 2024-2025 budget was filed on March 20th, and tonight we're having the presentation. And next meeting, April 11th, we'll have the public hearing. And then on really great news, we received $204,000 of grant received money. It was 3 projects, Gin Lane Bioswale. It had 2 grants associated with that, Suffolk County grant, New York State DEC, as well as second project was the sewer map and plan, which was a town CPF from 2021. And then the Lake Agawam dredging feasibility study, that was a New York State DEC one that we got back, and we're still working on. I think we have maybe 2 more that we're still working on getting reimbursed for. So.
All right, and we also were awarded the $1 million from the federal government for the
Yes.
sewer engineering as well.
Yes.
So we can tap into that
Yep.
as we need to.
Exactly. Yep.
Excellent. Thank you, Julie, very much.
Julie, can I ask one question?
Yeah, of
I
course.
didn't quite understand the insurance thing. What are causing that?
There was a reevaluation on the new insurance for this coming year, and they added more things that were off. I don't know if Anthony can.
Yeah, so we took a look at all village property, village vehicles, and everything that we have insured with the village, and we reconciled it against last year's previous list. And there were some items that we needed to add to the list of things that we needed to insure.
So it wasn't based on experience or lawsuits that had
Yeah.
to be paid or any of that stuff?
No, it wasn't. No. Yep.
That's correct. And in addition, sir, we had an additional 4 vehicles that were required to be insured over last year.
Perfect. Any other
Okay.
questions?
No, that's good for now, Julie. Thank you.
Okay.
So now we're going to turn it over to Ed Moneypenny, who is chair of the Budget and Finance Committee. Is he out there, Sage? Is he able to be brought in? Okay, great. Thank you. I can't really see him. Ed, are you there? There he is.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but you got to adjust your camera slightly. We're looking at your ceiling.
Not the worst looking ceiling.
No. All right, that's great. Go ahead,
Now
Ed.
you get a little beach.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Mayor, thanks, trustees, thanks for having me tonight. I appreciate that, I really do. First of all, for the record, I want to make sure that everybody knows the committee is a 5-member committee. In addition to myself, we have Dane Neller, who's vice chair, Jim McNaughton, John Steinhardt, and Rose Diaz. And I'd like to make some very brief comments as to the process as far as the committee goes, so people who hear this and read this can understand how we relate to the production of the budget. Various members of the committee participated along with the mayor and others where the individual department heads presented the fiscal year 25 budget. There were 7 of those meetings. And I would say, and then we would say is probably a better way to put it, is the department heads were well prepared. We thought the material was good in the appropriate detail, good back and forth as far as Q&A, and overall a very, very effective process. And all our committee has been involved in these kinds of things in other organizational settings. So I think we have a pretty good view as to what works and what doesn't. And we were very impressed with how these department heads and you, Mayor, handled the whole process. And then, so there were 7 of those meetings. And then there was a couple of meetings where I had the opportunity to attend, where you, the mayor, the treasurer, trustee Sananti, put together the consolidated budget, which is now on the website. And then finally, our full committee participated with you, Mayor, the trustees Zananti, and the treasurer. You walked us through the budget presentation slides. Again, good back and forth, good questions, and good answers. And that material is also on the village website. And I really think it's worth residents' time to look at that material, particularly the budget, what I call the budget presentation slides. There's 7 or 8 of them. They lay out the revenue, as you know, how it's generated, what the big expenses are, what's controllable, what's not controllable, which is a good way to look at the expense issues, and several other things. And I think it's just very informative, and I think it's worthwhile for residents to do that. So we recommend that they do exactly that. So in summary, we think the budget makes very good sense. It's ready for your consideration and ultimate approval by the village board, and our committee fully supports and recommends that it be approved, and you do exactly that. So, Mayor, that's my report, and again, thanks for the opportunity to speak with you folks tonight, and I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Chairman Moneypenny. I will turn to the board's members to see if they have any questions or anything that they would like to discuss further with you. Len?
No, I'm fine. I was with Ed the whole way, and thank you for your report, Ed.
Gina, do you have any questions?
No, just thank you, Ed, and the rest of the Budget and Finance Committee. Been working with you for quite a few years now, and I really enjoy the budget process and the way it's done, and we have an input from everyone that is concerned with their department, and the mayor as well. I mean, it is the mayor's budget, and so it's a very good process, very thorough.
It is.
And yeah,
100%.
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Robert?
welcome.
I'd just like to say thank you. It's clear, concise, and we appreciate all of your work. Thank you so very much.
Okay.
Roy?
All right.
Right.
Ditto, Ed.
Okay. All right, right.
All right. Thank you very much, Ed.
Okay, you're more than welcome.
All right. Really appreciate your work and that of your team.
Okay,
Thanks
thanks again.
Thank you. So at this point, I am going to bring Julie, the village treasurer, back up to discuss the 2024 to 2025 tentative operating and capital budget. Thank you, Sage, for getting the slides up. Well, it looks very nice.
Yes. Alrighty. You ready?
Yeah, sure.
Yep. So we'll jump right in. We'll do your mayor's. Is it not
Yep.
going? Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Let's go to the next slide.
My apologies.
Can you drive, Sage, or are you doing it?
Nope, I am.
Okay.
Sorry.
So this is just the mayor's message. I don't think I need to read it here unless people would like me to read it.
Would you like to read it? You can read it.
Oh,
I think it'd be good.
This is my first mayor's message to accompany the tentative budget for fiscal year 2025. We are proud of our budget, and many people worked extremely hard on it, especially our new treasurer, Julie Krudop, and trustee Len Zananti. I ran on a platform of civility and stability, and through hard work, smart financial planning, and efficiency, we not only show a stable village today, but also we have the village we invest in and cherish in tomorrow. Due to neglect, we were compelled to make critical improvements to historic buildings and continue the environmental protections that are so crucial to the health and well-being of our residents. Johnson Controls was retained to increase energy efficiency throughout the village, from LED streetlights to solar energy. While we offset as much of this as we can with grants, we do need to raise taxes very modestly. We are making an investment in this village, and you are all a part of that. This is all for the greater good of historic, beautiful Southampton, which we want to perpetuate, protect, and safeguard for this and future generations. My role as mayor is to provide stability and to ensure the village is a safe and beautiful place for residents and businesses to thrive. Thank you.
Yep.
Now we can go to the budget highlights. Were you going to take these, Julie? You don't want me to take them?
We're gonna. Yep.
Okay. So, general highlights. Due to inflation, the tax rate will be $20.89, which is a 74-cent increase in the rate per $100. This budget will bring the village $83,583 under the tax levy cap, which is very important. Funding deferred capital projects with prior year operating surpluses. We will be doing that. Revenues. Continue to forecast strong revenue based on building permits, beach receipts, and New York State municipal investment pool deposits with more attractive interest rates. Continue to explore grant funding for a variety of purposes, including sewer system design and engineering and the World War I memorial restoration. Expenses. We reorganized village operations to separate the duties of the village administrator and the village treasurer. We hired an in-house full-time attorney to help contain village legal costs. Thank you very much, Eileen Powers. And we continue to improve neglected infrastructure and deferred maintenance village-wide. So now I am going to turn it over to Julie to go
Yes.
through the tentative budget numbers.
Yes, so this is the tax rate summary chart. As you can see, the first column is the tentative budget. The column next to it is the last year's adopted. And then the other two columns are the increases and the percentages, the percent of change. So starting off on tentative total appropriation, we have $35,870,595. And then our estimated revenues in this budget is $8,789,951. This produces the amount to raise by taxation of $27,080,644. As you can see on the bottom, the tax levy cap, that's what we're capped at. If we had gone over that cap, we would have had to pierce taxes. But you can see to the right of that, $83,583. We are under the tax cap by that much. Our taxable assessed value is $129,626,734, or the taxable assessment value. And our tax rate per $100 is $20.89, producing a 74% increase. Also, just so you can see, our debt service did increase, but that was due to Johnson Control Bond. However, the board has decided to offset this cost with appropriation of reserve this year, because the Johnson Control Bond is supposed to, the project is supposed to help save on utility costs, which offset the debt service. However, we haven't received any gains from savings of utility costs, so.
Not yet,
Yes, not yet, but we are expected to hopefully next year.
and it should hopefully be a wash.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So that's this. And then moving on, do you want to take over
Okay,
this?
yeah, sure. So this is a great pie chart that shows where the money comes from, which I think is very important. As you can clearly see, 75%, full 3/4 of the revenue comes from property taxes. But also, we do realize a good amount of money from beach revenue, which is $1.1 million. Again, the land use and permits is 1.7 in this budget, almost 1.8. We get intergovernmental money from providing fire protection outside of the village, as well as outside public safety dispatching to neighboring communities. That amounts to $1.1 million. Federal and state aid is about $1.5 million. And then other miscellaneous income is just about $2.1 million. We can go to the next slide. So this pie chart shows where the money goes. The largest component is the police department. That's a full 1/3 of the village budget. It's an excellent, outstanding police department, and we do pay for it. We have retired and unallocated employee benefits of $3.2 million, and then running the various departments. You can see the building department, transportation, parks, land use, community services, fire and ambulance is about $2.3 million. Those are obviously volunteers, but we put quite a bit of money into the fire and ambulance services in the village. We made a transfer to capital of $1 million. Debt service is $1.2 million. That's really from the new AAA bond that we did that we got for paying for Johnson Control's improvements to the energy efficiency of the village. And then general government support, which includes insurance and all sorts of other fees, is $7.5 million. And central garage is the last department. Again, that costs us about $1 million a year. Next slide, please. So this shows the tax levy collection the past 11 years. And you will see that it slowly creeps up. This year, again, the increase is 4.17%. I will point out that is lower than the first year of Mayor Warren's administration and less than one of the years of Mayor Irving's administration. Those numbers, just by frame of reference, was 4.6% increase under Mayor Warren and a 4.39% increase under Mayor Irving. So we were able to hold this down below that at just 4.17%. All right, next slide, please. So this really shows you what the village is faced with in terms of discretionary and non-discretionary spending. The salaries and employee benefits makes up really a full, again, 3/4 of the village budget, meaning that is very difficult to be able to play around with because, again, we have 3 unions and those are contracts that are set, benefits that are set, and so that is really where the lion's share of the village spending goes towards that. On the other side, the 24%, we have money for equipment, transfers to capital, and any other expenditures, supplies, contractual services, training, conferences, miscellaneous, and then again, I didn't mention the debt service. The debt service is again on that AAA bond, which is a 4.1% interest rate, which is very good during these times. But again, that's something that's fixed that we cannot change because we are locked into that those bond payments. But it just shows you that we only really have control over 24% of the budget. Next slide, please. So this shows the fund balance. This is good news because we keep increasing our fund balance in the village, and this is very healthy. As you can see, we did make a switch of some of the monies this year at my suggestion. So the unassigned came down, but that was added to capital reserves. I thought it was good practice, and others have told me it's very good practice to make sure that we have significant funding in capital reserves for capital expenditures in the village. Certainly, we recognize that there's quite a lot to be done, and so we were able to move some of the money in the fund balance to capital reserves. And as you see, it shows that we have the same overall total amount, which is just over 30 million in the fund balance, which includes the water quality reserve as well as restricted funds. All right, next slide, please. And this bar chart just shows the outstanding bond indebtedness as we took on the additional bond last year. Again, the AAA rated 4.1% bond, that had us increase our bond indebtedness up to 12.2 million, which is just about where we were in 2016. We were coming down nicely as we were paying off previous bonds, but now with taking on this new bond for Johnson Controls, it has gone back up to 12.2. The good thing is the changes that we are making with Johnson Controls for better energy efficiency, solar energy creation, will actually pay for itself over the life of the bond. So we will realize a savings from the changes that we are making with Johnson Controls, with the LED lighting, more efficient boilers in some of the village buildings, as well as tighter windows in Village Hall. So there's a lot that we're doing that we're paying for it, but it'll come back to us in savings. Next slide, please. So here's the big question. How does this impact the average tax bill? So what we did here, we looked at a residential homeowner. 90% of the taxes are paid by the residences. I think it's only about 10% that are paid by commercial businesses in the village, because it's again only the property tax. As you know, the village does not collect any sales tax. All sales tax generated in the village goes to the county. So we do not have access to any of the sales tax generated in the village. But this shows you that a house with a market value of $1 million will see their typical bill increase by just under $50 with this budget. A house that is valued at $2 million will see their typical bill go up by just under $100, and a house that's assessed at $5 million will see their bill go up by just under $250. So again, we think these are modest increases, unfortunately necessary increases to pay for the infrastructure improvements that we are making, as well as the deferred maintenance that is necessary to be undertaken and corrected in village-owned assets. Now we can get into some of the smaller minutiae here. I got to put my glasses on. But this just shows you, for example, we continue to pay for a new fire truck. We started that last year. Again, we will make an additional payment of over $500,000 towards that fire truck this year. The good thing about the fire department is that we cost share with the fire district, meaning the village pays 60% of this and the fire district pays 40%. That was an arrangement that really it's a contract that we have with the fire district that Trustee Stevenson and I worked out with the fire district commissioners, and it really is it's a good deal for the village because, again, 40% of these costs are borne by the fire district, which is its own taxing entity, which is larger than the village itself. But, you know, we continue to make computer upgrades, so $10,000 goes to that. In terms of the ambulance corps, we just took possession of a new ambulance that was paid for by a grant. Always good to get things paid for by grants. The next ambulance, which we are going to place the order for this summer, is going to have to come out of our capital reserves. But we have slotted $131,000 to be spent this year out of capital reserves for the down payment on the new ambulance. We need to replace the ambulances because the ones that we're operating are probably about 20 years old, and it's time to replace those. I do also want to add that we're adding an additional LifePak 15 cardiac monitor, which is a $40,000 item. But if you need to be, if you need to have your heart jump started, we need to have these in the vehicles. This is a very sophisticated monitor in that it can be hooked up to the hospital and transmit to doctors in the hospital exactly what's happening with the patient. So it's really a state-of-the-art piece of equipment and something that we felt was necessary for village residents and visitors alike. We are also really spending a lot of money to upgrade the radio consoles at police headquarters. This is something that was a little overdue, but we're getting to it over the next 2 years. We will be spending $210,000 this year and another $210,000 next year for a complete upgrade and new radio consoles in police headquarters for better communications to all of our life safety service members. We also are purchasing additional body-worn cameras for the police force. The police force is now wearing body cameras, but they are sharing those that we have purchased thus far. So we are adding almost $100,000 more of body-worn cameras so that we can assign cameras to the individual officers so that they're always fully functioning and available for officers when they go out. We're upgrading the server for the police department. That's $16,000. In the highway department, we're buying a new bucket truck. These are very expensive. It's $300,000, but the former bucket truck was failing. It was not safe. So we had to purchase a new bucket truck. That's for trimming trees and doing all sorts of work, in a cherry picker where you have to get up high. We're also buying a new Kenworth dump truck, which will also have plowing capabilities and sanding capabilities for the village. We only had really one big snowstorm this winter, but we want to be prepared for the next winter and also have, another dump truck. Those are very expensive as well, $380,000. We don't buy these very frequently, but it was time that be replaced. So we are doing that. Also in DPW, this is something that I thought was very important to do. We're adding a gas boy fuel management system. This is $32,000, but it will be able to track every car or vehicle that uses the gas that is stored at the village barn, and it will be attributable to the department that is using that gas. So it will track much more distinctly exactly where the gas is going, whether it be the police department, the fire department, highway department. It will be able to track each vehicle, where that money is going. So we thought that was a good system to have in place. In terms of improving some of the quality of life issues in the village, we are adding a playground to the Downs Family Park at the eastern side of the village. That's costing $250,000. And a small item, but something I think that people will like, is we are going to be adding a water bottle fill station in the Agawam Park so that people can refill their bottles in the park as opposed to buying additional plastic bottles of water. So that will be something that, again, residents and visitors can use, something that's a nice quality of life addition. And with that, I think I've gone through the entire budget tables.
Yep.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
So at this time, I would ask the board if they have questions or if they have any comments. We'll start with Len Zananti, since he worked on this budget very diligent with me as well.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to acknowledge Charlene's input into this budget. She kicked it off, and Julie was very capable to wrap it up and put a nice bow on it. I think it's a very fair budget. I think it's balanced, not only in dollars and cents, but also in its approach to solving problems. And the priorities are really spelled out in the budget, which they should be. Taking care of infrastructure issues and other issues that have not been dealt with in a while that we're dealing with now. So I also need to commend the Budget and Finance Committee for their involvement, their productive involvement in this process. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Len, and thank you for your help on the budget.
Thank you.
Trustee Resta?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll ditto Len. I want to thank Charlene for kicking this off and Julie for getting it finished to the finish line. And I don't know how much you were involved with this with the Budget and Finance Committee as well. I'm very happy that that we're taking the initiative to replace. There's some new expensive vehicles on here, which is very necessary because some of these vehicles haven't been replaced in 20 years. So, and especially, which is most concerning, was the ambulance. And also, I've been trying to get this gas boy done for quite a few years because we don't know who's filling up and this and that and the other thing. And actually, it's going to streamline right into the budgets because now we know how much each department is going to be spending on gas, and it's going to go right into the cost into that department, correct? So, which is important, and I'm glad we're doing that as well. I think it's very, very modest increase to the taxes, considering we are contractually obligated to meet payroll and obligations that we have to employees. So when we went out into the different department heads to where to cut, they found a little bit of waste of the things that we can control. So I think this is really a budget to be very proud of, considering the increases in insurance, health insurance, and everything else that you have no choice. You have to pay what they tell you to pay. So I think it's a budget to be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. Robin Brown.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank the entire team for their hard work and efforts, and I'm pleased to see that there are so many things as far as the fire department, ambulance, police, highway, and quality of life. It's a tremendous list here, and I'm so pleased that you were able to find us in the budget to tend to all these things. So our village has a lot to be proud of, and thank you so very much.
Thank you. Trustee Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to reiterate what everybody else has said, I'm extremely pleased to see that we're finally reinvesting in the key elements that make Southampton the wonderful place it is, which is the the safety of our residents, and the protection of our environment. We do spend a lot of money on police, fire, and ambulance, but to me, that's probably one of the most important reasons people choose and want to live in the village, and that it's a very safe place. And there is a fair number of people out there to help you should you get in an emergency situation. To provide our ambulance with the cardiac equipment, if it saves one person, obviously it would be a tremendous home run. And how much would you spend to save one person's life who's having a cardiac problem? I mean, it's incredible. So I'm very proud of what we've done, and it's unfortunate that all this costs so much. But the reason we're having to spend so much now is that for the past several years, the taxes were held very, very steady, which is great, but a lot of stuff was put off and delayed and deferred, and at some point in time, the bills come due. When the ambulance is over 20 years old and doesn't have the most modern equipment, it needs to be replaced. When the fire engine is 20 years old and we need to keep our volunteer firemen in the best equipment so that they can serve us in the best way, we need to get a new fire engine. And to keep saying, no, we're not going to do that because we're trying to save money is really penny wise but pound foolish. The green initiatives with Johnson Controls are also absolutely great. The whole country, as we know, is going through a tremendous period of coming to reckoning with climate change, protecting our environment, energy efficiency improvements, and if you everywhere across this budget you see the impact of that. The bond that have to be taken out to pay for the Johnson Controls improvement, which will pay for themselves over the life of that bond, and even something small like 4 battery-powered leaf blowers. Proud that the administration has set up a system where gas-powered leaf blowers will be banned from the village, 2024, pretty soon, coming up.
This year.
And that's a great achievement, and the village itself, of course, has to go by that ban, and so now we're going to have electric leaf blowers, and they're not cheap, but they'll be much quieter, and people will enjoy not having that noise in the background as they're trying to take a walk around the village. So, well done to all who put this budget together.
Thank you very much, Roy. Next up was Mark Schiffert, but I don't believe he's here. Was he going to be zooming in?
I don't know.
Sage, was he on Zoom? Mark Schiffert? Otherwise, he was going to talk for the Planning Commission on the Community Housing Fund that was instituted last year. But if he's not there, then we will just postpone this until a later meeting. And at this time, I will turn back to the village administrator for the suggested resolutions.
Thank you, sir. Resolved, the claims for the warrant dated March 26, 2024, totaling $231,174.82. Warrant number A-17- General Fund, $70,942.15. Warrant number H-10- Capital Fund, and $2,650.00. Warrant number T-19- CS Trust Fund are audited and approved.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the village administrator is hereby authorized to publish the notice of public hearing on the 2024-2025 tentative operating and capital budget scheduled for April 11th, 2024 at 6:00 p.m.
I will make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the village clerk to publish a bid on behalf of the Superintendent of Public Works for the replacement of a slate roof on Veterans Hall.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the village clerk to publish a bid on behalf of the Superintendent of Public Works for a replacement of the slate, metal, and asphalt roof on the Southampton Arts Center.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A discussion, I was over at SAC this last few months, and on more than one occasion, unfortunately, they've had to put buckets out in the galleries because of the leaking roof. This has gone on far too long. I think we were talking about this years ago, but it's time that we address that infrastructure. That's a village-owned building. It's a historic building, and we need to maintain the village assets, especially when we are having art shows and other gatherings in that space. It has to be preserved. So that was the reason for going out to these for these bids right now, and why we put additional money away in capital reserves to pay for these items. So with that, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Resolved that the mayor and the board of trustees hereby authorizes and approves the transfer of Shannon O'Donnell, senior office assistant, from the Department of Public Works to the office of the village clerk, effective March 25th, 2024.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the mayor and board of trustees hereby authorizes and approves the transfer of Jada Gant, office assistant, from the office of the village clerk to the Department of Public Works, effective March 25th, 2024.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees accepts a letter of resignation from Rovit Morales, Assistant to the Building Inspector, Secretary to the Planning Board, FOIL Officer, effective March 22nd, 2024.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to enter into and execute a renewal agreement with Civic Plus for the use of their program, C-Click Fix, for the annual term beginning February 9th, 2024, at a cost of $9,839.81, subject to the approval of the village attorney.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the village has successfully settled a PROBA collective bargaining agreement in 2023, which required a retroactive payroll adjustment to 2019, and whereas the years prior estimated pay increases were budgeted each year close to the fund balance when the contract was not settled to fund the payment of this year's prior year's retroactive pay. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the following budget amendment. Increase A 1775, appropriation of reserves in the amount of $287,000.00. Increase A 3130.1, radio operator salary in the amount of $287,000.00.
Okay, I will make the motion.
Second?
A discussion. Again, this was finally concluding the PROBA contract. That's for the employees that work in the village dispatch. Again, this was 4 years in the making, but we got it done. But now we have to make up some of the retroactive pay, and that's what this is doing in this resolution. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Whereas the village is installing new drainage systems on Pine Street and Walnut Street, and whereas, due to the additional scope of work on the drainage system on Hill Street, additional funding is needed in the budget line for permanent improvement drainage. Now therefore be it resolved, the Village Board of Trustees directs the Treasurer's Office to make the following budget modifications. From budget line A.5112.21, permanent improvement, paving in the amount of $9,000.00, to budget line A.5112.22, permanent improvement, drainage in the amount of $9,000.00.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the total allocation of $1,000 to be utilized from the Minority Affairs account to offset expenditures with the submission of receipts in support of the 5th annual Juneteenth ceremonies to be held at Agawam Park on Wednesday, June 19th, 2024, and Saturday, June 22nd, 2024.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves an additional request from Denise Smith to hold a Juneteenth celebration to be held at Agawam Park on Saturday, June 22nd, 2024, from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. The 5th annual Juneteenth celebration will be held on Wednesday, June 19th, 2024, has already been approved on October 12th, 2023.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that concludes the meeting. Now we will have comments from board members, and we will start with Trustee Resta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things. We all spoke about the budget already, and as I said before, I'm very happy about the process and what we're doing to take some of our money and improve some of the crumbling infrastructure that we have around the village, including draining, which there was a resolution tonight, just now, that we took more money from paving to put it in drainage, which is very important because that has to be fixed first before we proceed with more paving. And we're doing quite a bit of work around the village. As you can see right here behind Village Hall, we're still working on that West Main Street parking lot. They did the grinding today to prepare for the paving, but before that's going to be done, the planting for the bioswales inside the new islands will be done. And actually, we're still waiting for the asphalt plants to open because the weather that we were all fooled by that fake spring last week that we had. So they're not quite ready, but there's still some planting to do, but we will be able to use that parking lot in the meantime, intermittently. It'll be, parts of it will be open and parts of it will be closed because they're working on it. If you noticed, outside by Hill Street, we are putting in 2 new islands there for a new traffic pattern that's going to help keep the traffic moving on Hill Street, and a safe crosswalk. There was never any crosswalk there for people to walk from one side to the other side of First Neck. So you'll see 2 islands there. One of the islands is so you can come out of Viridian Way and make a left-hand turn safely. And the other small island is there if you're walking across Hill Street. You could pause there if you can't make it to the other side of First Neck. So there's plenty of things going on as far as safety that's on our streets. The other thing you could see down by the library, there's going to be a new handicap access crosswalk that's going across Windmill Lane. So they're working on that, and that should be done shortly. So I'm very happy that we're able to move with a lot of these infrastructure improvement projects, and we're coming along here also around Village Hall and the outside, and making the necessary repairs to this building as well. So thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.
Thank you. We'll turn to Trustee Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. I'd like to take this time to thank Ms. O'Donnell for her 17 years in DPW and to welcome her to the front area here. I'm thankful for your experience coming, and I know that we have a team of professionals in the front that are going to help you ease through this and transition well. And I would like to congratulate Jada for going on to DPW. This is another area you've done well, and you've had great guidance and mentorship with Kathy Sweeney and all the others here. And now congratulations for going on and learning another department and being able to bring your sunshine and professionalism over there. So congratulations to you both. Just to mention to our residents, to let them know that we had the panel discussion on the community choice aggregation held at Southampton Cultural Center. And that information, summary and Q&A will be made available to you shortly on our website. It is our determination to make sure that there is good communication so that our residents are well advised and have the ability to make their decisions on what they like to do going forward. Just a little recap that New York State in the Climate Act has set a nation's leading goal of being 70% sustainable by 2030 and net zero by 2040. In order to attain this goal, renewable energy is essential. To quote NYSE RDA, increasing our renewable energy supply while phasing out the use of fossil fuels will help improve air quality, support a more resilient electric grid, and spur a clean energy economy through supply chain investments, workforce development, and job creation. The reality of climate change impacts locally, so we're urging actions to mitigate global warming. Switching to renewable electricity is an effective solution. Community choice aggregation, known as CCA, offers flexibility with an easy opt-out option. The consideration of embracing renewables is essential for the future. We suggest that our residents learn more about this at CCA, and that information will be available for you in the future on our website. Thank you so very much, and have a pleasant evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. We'll go to Trustee Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. It's close to, it is officially spring. You wouldn't notice
You would know it.
when it's cold. But Easter is coming this weekend, and that's always a sign of rebirth and new beginnings. And it's so nice to walk around the village and see so many areas that are being rejuvenated. The movie theater is getting a facelift, and I can't wait to see what it looks like when that's done. A building at the corner of Hill and Windmill Lane, the big white building, which has not been rented in its full capacity for many, many years, is now being renovated, and my understanding is that a good tenant that will provide food services is going to be moving in there. Our beautiful Village Hall, which was in a sad state of disrepair, thanks to Trustee Aresta and our Department of Public Works, is being renovated with all of its beautiful moldings restored, and that will be looking beautiful. So happy to hear tonight from the mayor that we're going to look at putting a new roof on the SAC, which again is a beautiful building. And just so sad that when people would come to look at the artworks, there are literally buckets collecting the water from the holes in the existing roof, but it hasn't been maintained in probably 30 years. So at some point in time, you've got to fix things. So it's glad that we're doing that. Another great improvement is the parking lot, main parking lot behind this Village Hall, which is being totally repaved and installed with bioswales to reduce all the runoff that comes from the parking lot that ends up adding to our pollution in Lake Agawam. And last but not least, it looks like we're finally beginning to make some serious progress on renovating our beautiful World War I memorial, the high mark of our beautiful Lake Agawam Park. And it has fallen into a state of disrepair, but with state grants and private donations, it looks like we're beginning to make some progress on getting that restored to its state of original beauty. So just want to wish everybody happy Easter, enjoy the season, don't eat too much chocolate eggs or jelly beans, and thank you very much.
Peeps, yep.
Thank you, Trustee Stevenson. We'll turn to Trustee Zananti.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to join Trustee Brown in thanking the organizers and the participants for the education forum we had on the community choice aggregation on March 16th. I think it was a very good exchange of information, and the residents and participants who came were terrific and brought some insight to it, and I'm happy we had that education forum. Also happy to see that we're renewing See-Click Fix, which is the village's 311 system, whereby residents and citizens can report non-emergency issues to Village Hall to be dealt with, whether they be overturned garbage pails or trees that are down. It's an important way to communicate with the government. I'd like to also note that we had a very successful, in my opinion, breakfast with the Chamber of Commerce participants on the 21st of March. We probably saw 50 to 60 individuals who are members or friends of the Chamber of Commerce, and it was not only well attended, but I think a great exchange of information and our priorities. And lastly, I'd just like to say one more thing about the budget that we put together. I said earlier that it's a statement of our priorities, but if you take that to the next level, it's really a statement of management and how we're managing this village. And I think a lot of the priorities that have been stated in the budget are needed and important, and I think the management is strong, and I'm proud to be part of this management team. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Leonard. I too would like to thank Don Sullivan of the Public House and Chamber of Commerce for hosting the breakfast at his restaurant there on Jobin Lane last Thursday morning. As Len said, it was a great turnout. I really enjoyed getting to speak to all those assembled about, again, the vision for the village and how we really are making improvements to again, its overall appearance so that we can, again, make this the best town and village on the Long Island. I also want to thank Sister Kathy for the invitation to the Our Lady of the Hamptons Seder lunch today at the school there on the corner of North Main Street and Railroad Plaza. I was joined by Deputy Mayor Aresta as well as Building Inspector Chris Talbot, and we really enjoyed it. The students participated, explained what the Seder meal is all about. Parents that were there were very engaged. They were helping with the meal, and it really was a wonderful sight to see. All very, well-behaved students and families participating in this luncheon at OLH. So I'm grateful to the Sister Kathy for the invitation. And finally, I too will just wish everyone a happy Easter this weekend on Sunday. And thank everybody. And at this point, I would like to make a motion to adjourn and go to executive session for discussing contractual and legal matters.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's 7:37 p.m. And we are coming out of executive session where no action was taken. I'm now asking for a motion to close this meeting of the Village Board of Trustees.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.